Dear students, this is Karthikeyan Yen who will be handling you this international financial management for your third semester. When you take Unit 1, the following would be the contents that you would be seeing in your Unit 1. In order to study about international financial management, we need to go back to the history. History dated 6000 BC, in where people started to exchange goods for another goods. A product is exchanged for another product, which was called as a barter system. Here you can see there is one discrepancy where a high value product is exchanged for a low value product. In order to overcome this discrepancy, what people did, they started to invent some common medium of exchange like animal skin, salt, and weapons, which were developed over those centuries as a common medium of exchange. Later on, what people did, they found very difficult to carry the animal skin and the weapons for doing trade. So, in order to overcome this, in 770 BC in China, what they did, they started to mint bronze based tools as a common medium of exchange. In later in 600 BC, Lydia's king Alytus started to mint bronze-based coins, where the coins were embedded with some pictures, and those pictures were used as a common denomination. Later on, as the days passed on, civilization started to rise, needs, wants of people started to increase, which laid a very big roadmap for trade as well as international. So we can say that globalization is not a new phenomena to the world. It started way back in the from 6000 BC, starting from the barter system. Later on, when you see the colonial expansion, when countries started to invade, the invading countries used the invaded countries to do trade. In India, it was this gentleman Vasco da Gama who landed in Calicut from Portugal, was the first recognized trader who used to trade his goods. Later on, when you take in 1870s, the Industrial Revolution paved a big wave in establishing global market where the industrial products used to sell from one country to another country. If you take the Second World War and the Great Depression, which happened in 1930s, it paid a wave. It played a very big role in creating a crisis in the global economy, and this crisis led the member countries to create two important organizations, two important regulatory authorities to regularize the trade, and that was one GATT, the second one is IBRD. GATT means General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, IBRD means International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Later on, GATT was termed as World Trade Organization, IBRD was named as World Bank. Now we are going to see about what is trade and what are the different types of trade. When you exchange product, when you exchange service or goods and services transferred for some monetary value, we call that as trade. And when that trade happens inside our state, we call that as local trade. And when that trade happens inside our country, we call that as national trade. And when that trade happens across the borders, we call that as international trade. So trade can be classified as local trade, national trade, and international trade. Now we are going to see about what is international financial management. When you take international trade, it refers to international business where we do business across the borders. We send our products across the borders. We send our products across the geographical location. So we call that as international business. And this international business gives us international finance. That is, when you do a trade for a person in United States, you will receive the money in terms of dollars. So international trade also deals with international finance. So, on one aspect, it is the trade across the borders. Another aspect is dealing with foreign currencies. All put together, we call that as international trade. At the point of juncture where international trade, international business, and international finance intersects, at that point, as a financial manager, we need to take lot of decisions in particular to finance, and that is what we call it as international financial management. Now we'll see some definition for international financial management. IMF may be defined as the management of whole gamut of finance operations relating to international activities of a business organization. So when a business organization deals with international trade, it has to deal with international currency. So since it deals with international currency, it has to deal with international finance. It has to manage its international trade as well as the currencies which occurs due to international trade. So management of financial resources in the context of international economic activities. Economic activities means the trade that we do, the buying and selling that we do is what we call it as international financial management.